This is Jim Bish with the Americans in Wartime Museum. Today's date is March 28, 2019, and I'm conducting an interview with Dick Herrmann in Sun City, Arizona. Dick, could you please give me your full name and where you were born?
Richard Christian Herrmann, and I was born in Buffalo, New York.
Okay. And could you tell me what wars or time frame that you were associated with?
Well, I was in during the Korean War.
Thank you. Did you grow up in New York?
Yes,
And that's where you attended school and graduated?
in Buffalo, yes.
In Buffalo, okay. And how did you find your way into the service? How did you find your way into the Army?
It was easy. I was drafted.
You were drafted. That's as easy as it gets.
I volunteered for the draft,
Uh-huh.
but I was technically
After
drafted
college.
Yeah.
after college.
So you went through college first?
Yes, I finished college.
Uh-huh. Where did you go to college at?
Ithaca College in Ithaca, New York.
Okay, I've heard of that. And so after graduate, what did you major in college?
I was in physical therapy.
Okay. And so you were drafted then, or did you enlist after you got out of college?
I technically enlisted, but I was right ahead of the draft board.
The hands were starting to get forced, Jim,
Oh, yeah,
behind your
yeah,
back.
Yeah. I can't tell what I would have done if it wasn't that way, but
Yeah,
we never know.
yeah. So you were, so you found your way into the Army.
Yeah.
Where did you go for basic training?
I was at Fort Dix.
Okay. And then after basic training at Fort Dix, where did they send you?
Do you remember where I was in?
Before you went down to,
I was in Virginia, right? I've forgotten what the name of the camp was. Camp Pickett? Is it?
Could be.
Yeah, Camp Pickett, Virginia.
Camp Pickett in Virginia.
Mhm.
What were you being taught to do there? Were you what were you being trained for? Were you in the medical service?
Well, my background is as a physical therapist.
Mm-hmm. Did they,
I don't think you were at Pickett very long.
I wasn't there very long. I really don't remember any training there.
yeah. And where did you finally end up at?
Fitzsimmons Army Hospital in Denver, Colorado.
And while you were at Fitzsimmons, what was your job?
I was a physical therapist.
Okay. So what you went to college for, that's what you were doing.
Yeah, accidentally.
Sometimes you don't see that in the Army.
That's right. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
Why did they have me do something I was trained to do?
Yeah. So what are some of the activities that you did as a physical therapist? Were you helping people get back on their feet after injury and things
yeah.
like that?
Yeah, massage. We did a lot with heat, massage, and exercise.
Uh-huh.
Fitzsimmons had received the people with that was the lung center for the Army. So what we were doing was restorative therapy, mostly with lung diseases or people with injuries from the war.
Okay. Did you see any polio or lung issues? Was there any polio coming through as well? At Fitzsimmons, do you remember?
Where did I meet you?
We were in the polio.
Over the Hubbard tank.
Oh, that's right. We met over a Hubbard tank. I was taking care of a little patient.
Okay, because yeah, that was that time period where there was a lot of those lung issues coming through. Was it mostly all military personnel that you were seeing, or were you seeing some civilians of military personnel?
Well, we saw primarily there the wives and children of the veterans, and veterans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody associated that had the veteran insurance and military insurance, you were seeing their families and veterans.
So they were back from Korea, but it was families.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so many of them had married Oriental women, and many of them came back with TB.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fitzsimmons was a big tuberculosis.
And they did a lot of
hospital.
surgery in those days, so a lot of the rehab that we did was post-surgical rehab.
Yeah. How long were you at Fitzsimmons?
Well, most of 2 years, wasn't it?
And so that was probably 1954 and 55
54 and 55.
in that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Were you discharged then out of Fitzsimmons, or did you go somewhere after you were at Fitzsimmons?
No, I was discharged from Fitzsimmons.
Uh-huh. And so that's primarily your service during Korea was during that time period at the end, and then after
Yeah,
you were working with those that had been wounded or their families
right.
during that. Did you stay in the Denver area after you were discharged?
No. I went back to Buffalo.
Mm-hmm. What was some of the? Did you have anything that was some of the worst things you saw while you were stationed at Fitzsimmons, as far as injuries or medical ailments? Was it polio or tuberculosis? Were those a couple of the things that you?
Oh, we had patients with TB.
Dick,
Yeah.
tell him about Ike
Who?
Eisenhower.
Oh, yeah, General Eisenhower was there as a patient
Really?
while I was there. I treated him
It's
I
when
was
he
a
had his
physical
heart attack.
therapist. He had a heart attack.
His mother-in-law lived in Denver, and they always came to Denver,
Yeah.
so they used Fitzsimmons.
Yeah. So that was when he was president. He had a heart attack while, was it golfing or afterwards?
I think so.
Yeah.
So he was at Fitzsimmons and came
Recovering.
recovering there.
Right.
How long was he there while you were there at the hospital? Do you
Months,
remember?
Several months.
Yeah, I think it was quite a while.
Really? I guess I didn't know that he was at Fitzsimmons.
Yeah. Well, in those days, there wasn't a lot of publicity given to the exact whereabouts, of the president.
Mm-hmm.
The only way we knew, the only change we saw was tell him about the changes in the post.
We had a very open base, you came and went. And once the president was there, why, you had to show your pass to go in. And of course, we'd been stationed there, so we knew all of the,
Yeah.
well, then they brought in MPs.
APs
That's right. APs, Air Police,
from Lowry.
from Lowry Air Force Base.
Uh-huh.
And of course, we didn't know them.
Yeah.
So then we had to show our passes. But we were married and we lived off base.
So you knew exactly that somebody important was there with all that activity going on.
And the Secret Service were very
Yeah.
subtle.
Yeah.
So did you
Did we know that he was there? Who was
sure.
there? Yeah.
or did you personally treat him?
No.
No, I didn't.
Just he was in the hospital
He
there
was
while
in
you
the
were there.
hospital, yeah.
Uh-huh.
He didn't need physical therapy.
Yeah. Even after a while he was in bed, he didn't push him through physical therapy
No.
after a while.
If he did, there were others.
Mm-hmm.
They would have had one of the officers go. See, he was enlisted man.
Yeah. So while you were there, besides Roosevelt, Eisenhower,
Oh,
was there anything, any other high-ranking official come through, or high-ranking
You mean besides my wife?
besides your wife?
Do you remember anybody else that came through, Pat?
I don't recall
I
anybody.
don't
else
remember anybody.
At this point.
We didn't pay that much
Yeah,
attention.
you just did your job.
Yeah.
What are some of the things, could you go through some of your day-to-day activities that you did as far as physical therapy?
Besides that?
No, as far as what your duties were physical therapy-wise.
Oh, it was to treat the patients that, were directed to me.
Mm-hmm. And did they all have a regimen that they wanted you to do with them ahead of time, or did you have to diagnose what you wanted to do?
Everybody had,
Or doctor's orders.
there were the doctor's orders, and,
Uh-huh.
in my case, what I gave them was physical therapy, exercise, and assistance in walking, and
We had
Daily
We had a
activity.
physiatrist.
Yeah,
and-
daily activities of living.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a doctor of physical medicine who was responsible for directing their care.
Mm-hmm. Did, when you got out of the service, did your military career aid you in future employment at all? Or can you think of any benefits from having
Did
served?
you say aged me or aid me?
Aided you. Probably aged you as well.
He gave us the,
Oh, we got the GI Bill in those days.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that paid you to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got my master's. Yeah, that's when I got my master's degree.
he went to Cornell.
Went to Cornell University.
Okay. Did you continue in physical therapy after that? Or were you, did you get a master's in another discipline?
Hospital administration.
Well, I went into hospital administration.
Okay.
It was a natural
Progression.
progression, yeah.
Did you administrate a hospital in later?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Where at?
Well,
Minnie?
after I left Fitzsimmons,
No, you left, you went to New York, Memorial
oh,
Sloan Kettering.
Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York.
Okay.
And from there to St.
Then to St.
Vincent's on
Vincent's
Staten Island,
on Staten Island, St. Vincent's Medical Center.
and then Mercy,
And I went to Mercy Medical Center, that was on Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
and that was his career.
That was my career.
So you had a long service in medical facilities.
Oh, yes. Always in medical facilities.
Well, if there's nothing else you can think of, we'll conclude the interview. Unless there's something else you can think of during your military service that you might want to mention.
Well, I met my wife.
And you met your wife. That was probably the most important thing.
Absolutely. that lasted.
Yeah.
It's been,
Well, thank you, Dick, for the interview.
Oh,
Thank you
you're
very
most welcome.
much.
Thank you.